Welcome back to Xtreme tonight. We are so excited you are here. Wherever you are at tonight, will you just enter into worship with us? We are going to do some songs that you guys are super familiar with. So where you're at, just enter into worship with us tonight.
I was buried beneath my shame, my shame. You could carry that kind of weight. It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. The old made new, Jesus, when I met you. Oh, when you called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Needed rescue, my sin was heavy, but chains break out the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan, now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing, now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open, 'cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. A hallelujah,
Louder than the unbelief.
I raise a hallelujah.
My weapon is a melody.
I raise a hallelujah.
Heaven comes to fight for me.
I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm, louder and louder. You're gonna hear my praises roar. Up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated, the King is alive. Sing a little louder.
Sing a little louder.
I'm gonna sing a little louder.
Sing a little louder.
I'm gonna sing a little louder.
I'm gonna sing a little louder.
I'm gonna sing a little louder.
Gonna sing a little louder.
Gonna sing a little louder.
In the presence of my enemies.
I'm gonna sing a little louder.
Louder than the unbelief.
I'm gonna sing a little louder.
And my weapon is a melody.
I'm gonna sing a little louder. I'm gonna sing a little louder. I'm gonna sing a little louder. I'm gonna sing in the middle of the storm, louder and louder. You're gonna hear my praises roar. Up from the ashes, hope will arise. Death is defeated, the King is alive. I raise a hallelujah. I raise a hallelujah. I raise a hallelujah. I raise a hallelujah.
Hey, tonight, this last song, it's one that we introduced last week, and we're going to actually bring it back next week when we are in person. But it is Waymaker, and some of you might be super familiar with it, some of you might not. And the words are going to be on the screen, so if you don't know it, that's okay. But wherever you're at tonight, would you just let these words wash over you? They talk about being the Waymaker, the miracle worker, and that's who God is. So you would just sing that with us tonight. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. 'Cause you're the waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You're the waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. And that is who you are. That is who you are. And that is who you are. 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 'Cause you're the waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are.
Hey Bridget, welcome back to Xtreme. Hey Bridget, welcome back to Xtreme. Oh hey Bridget.
Hey, Davin. Hey, I saved you a seat.
Oh cool. Wait.
We want to have a great service, so we do ask you to stay in the auditorium at all times, as well as maintain social distance, which means no hugs, no handshakes, and no making out.
Whoa, what do you think you're doing? Listen, we can't do this. I think we're through. It's not you, it's me. I just really need to focus on Jesus right now. Hey, we are so glad we were back tonight. We want you guys to have fun.
But we also want you to stay safe. So remember, maintain social distance, stay in the auditorium,
And remember, stay clean.
I'm Davin. There's no hand sanitizer.
What?
It's all
Why is it
gone.
not working?
We are going to be so ready for you to be with us next Wednesday night. Just listen real close. We start back at 7. We start back at 7 o'clock. It'll be open just a few minutes before 7. Family groups are still going to happen online next week, just like they will here tonight about 6:30. So, hey, thank you for worshiping with us tonight. Thank you to the band for coming out tonight so we could broadcast this live this evening. I've been looking the last couple of weeks at the book of Job. Now, if you remember Job, everything was good and God pointed him out. Satan shows up with the angels, God points him out, and Satan's like, hey, he won't serve you if bad things happen to him. So all these bad things happen to him. To start off, his sons and daughters die. Tornado takes out some of his livestock. I mean, it's a bad day. And then God still points him out and says, look at Job. He's still my man. And Satan, who shows up, says, hey, he'll turn on you. He'll turn his back on you if you cause his health to go. So his health goes, and his wife even tells him, you should just curse God and die. But he holds on to his precious integrity. And then last week, as we were looking at it, his friends show up to just sit there with him. They don't say a word. They don't do anything. They just come and they mourn with him. They grieve with him. They feel his pain. So tonight, as we're moving forward here for just a couple more minutes, he has friends. Eli's the first friend. Eli Faz is what I'm going to call him. And then Bill Dad. And then Zophar, I think is what his name was. But Zop, Bill, and Eli show up. And they quit being silent. You know what? Sometimes, and I've said this, sometimes just your presence is super important. When you just show up for friends, sometimes you don't have to have the words to say. And I've been thinking about that this week. There's lots of things I've done this week to show up, to show sympathy and empathy to families in our church. There's been a couple of people who've passed away this last week. And just be there. I don't have to have the words. And you know what? It's crazy to be there through social media. It doesn't take a lot of words to just say, hey, I'm reaching out to you to care for you. But the best things about friends is that they show you sympathy and they show you empathy. I hope during this time you've had friends who have done that. I've gotten different phone calls. I've gotten different text messages. I've gotten different messages on social media saying, hey, Kevin, this isn't fair. Hey, this isn't going right. Hey, this isn't good. And what I'm trying to do is be there to sympathize. I'm trying to be there to empathize. And then I'm also trying to do this. Here's what when Eli the first shows up and he starts to speak, he points this out. He points this out about Job. He says, Job, you've been this kind of a friend. As a matter of fact, Job, you've been truly caring for someone who's hurting. And you've been there for people. His very first words that he says to Job is this: you have done this for us. We just need you to be there. And then he goes on to say this: there's a reason to speak. As a friend, there's a reason to speak. And tonight, if you're that Job friend, why don't you be a person who speaks? But here's the purpose behind it. Number one, to clarify. Do you know what I've done over this last week? Just clarify some of the things, some of the issues that have come up. Well, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's happening a month from now. We don't know what's happening 2 months from now. And what we do, and sometimes my job is just to clarify and say, no one knows. No one knows the answer to this. No one knows the solution to this. So what are we going to do? I told one of our students she should just go get ice cream. I said, you just should go get ice cream because you can control those decisions. You control what flavor, what kind of cone. You can control those things. But right now, some of these things are just out of our control. But Eli Fast shows up and he speaks and he says, Job, when you showed up for friends, you'd show up to bring clarity. And then you would do this. Listen, this is one of the best traits of a friend. A friend shows up to bring encouragement to someone who's about to quit. Listen, if you have friends who are about to quit, your words can speak volumes to them. Your words can make a huge difference for them. That you encourage them instead of quitting or giving up, instead of stopping, instead of just cratering and falling apart. Instead, during that time, someone who would be there to encourage and then to say, hey, you can make it. You can do it. You can make it. You can do it. Come on, you've got this. We're going to make it through this together. And as I was thinking about this, his friends are truly good friends because they sat there with him and they sympathized with him. But then they started to speak. As a matter of fact, for the next 37 chapters, his friends start to speak. Have you ever had a friend show up and really all you needed them to do was just to sit there and listen to you? And then they started to speak. Here's the first thing I can say to you as a friend. Don't be judgmental. Don't be judgmental. If you show up, don't be judgmental because you may not know all the facts. You know, sometimes on social media, I want to comment on things. There's been a couple of major things that have happened over the last few months that I'd like to comment on, but I don't know all the facts. And sometimes, how many of you have ever commented on something and you didn't know all the truth behind it? And then you kind of look like an idiot somewhere along the way. So I'm encouraging you with this. Don't be judgmental. And Andy Stanley said it this way. He's one of the people that I know that I heard quote this. He said this: believe the best instead of assuming the worst. And here's the thing that happened with Job's friends. They just show up and they start to assume the worst. They start to project the worst onto Job. They start to say the worst things about him. And what does Job do? Job declares, I'm innocent. I'm a friend of God. I haven't betrayed God. I haven't gone the wrong direction. I haven't done the wrong thing. Instead, he's saying, hey, you know what? I've actually lived this out. And his friends, he says this back to his friends. I think Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar would have been perfect Snapchat friends. Because here's the thing. He points out to them, why are you ridiculing me? Why are you ridiculing me? Why are you making fun of me? Why are you saying I'm so evil and so bad? And then he laid out his innocence to them again. But he did confirm that he had questions for God. As they're pointing him out and saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't be this, he's like, no, I do have questions for God. And then he said this, he said, I didn't do anything to deserve this moment. And can I say this to you tonight? You didn't do anything to deserve this pandemic. If you're looking at it going, well, what did I do? What did I do to not have a graduation? What did I do to not have a prom? What did I do that meant school was shut down for the last 2.5 months? Can I say this to you? You didn't do anything. And there's soul searching, there's soul looking. And Job did that, and he came back and he said, I'm innocent. I didn't have anything to do with this. I didn't cause this. I didn't make all this happen. But I want you to hear this tonight too. Somehow God is in the mix of all this stuff. All this stuff we don't understand, God is right there in the mix of it. As unbelievable as this may be to you, God is right here. And Job declared that. Job, to his friends who start to point out to him all of his frailty and all his failures and how you betrayed God, he's like, no, I didn't. I'm innocent. And as I look at our pandemic moment right now, as we're starting to come out of it, there are going to be questions for days. Job had questions for days. He's like, I'm not sure. But here was Job's prayer. And listen, I think this is a fair prayer for all of you students to pray right now. God, will you lay off the affliction? God, whatever is going on right now, whatever my feelings are, whatever's going on at my house, will you cause that to stop? Will you cause that to quit? Will you lay off the affliction? And then he says this. Job looks right at God and says, God, will you speak to me directly? I think that's a great part of the book of Job as I'm looking at it tonight. You know what? If I decide that, God, I don't know where the answers are, I don't know what the truth is. As a matter of fact, right now in the middle of this pandemic, there's lots of people who give lots of knowledge. Every day you can tune in and hear knowledge, but I'm not sure it's truth. And what I'm saying is, God, I'd like to know the truth. And the truth, here's the great thing about the truth, is the truth will set us free. But Job just said to God, God, can I hear directly from you? And then listen to this. Listen what Job said back to his friends. Some of you just need to be bold enough to just say some courageous things to your friends. He looks at his friends after they've given him 3 speeches apiece, and he says this, will you lay off the windbag speeches? I've had all I can take of your speeches. And then he says this to him, you're a bunch of slow-witted animals working yourselves up. You're trying to get me worked up by working yourselves up. And then he says this, God has come down on me. Now you guys are coming down on me too. And then he says this, how did you become so inspired to come attack me and come after me? Listen, if you're a friend that's attacking a friend, can I say these 2 words to you tonight? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Quit. Why don't you just be an encouragement to your friend? No matter what they're walking through, no matter what they're going through, instead of blaming them, what if you would encourage them and walk through this moment with them? You don't know all the things that are going on at their house. His friends unload on him, but Job did not admit once any guilt. Instead, he did this. He asked God to speak to him, and he asked God to stop the affliction that was coming at him. His friends continued on. They gave like 2 or 3 speeches apiece. And here's the last things I want to say to you tonight in just a minute or so that I have left. True friends should speak from a position of understanding and of compassion. which is to speak from a position of love. Listen, if you want to be a true friend in this pandemic moment, why don't you love your friends by listening a whole lot more than you speak? The second is this: emotions are part of relationships. It's actually, as a matter of fact, the part that makes relationship really powerful, and it's what makes relationship really great, is that